Hey guys, it's me. It's Queen Outside Her Room, and thank you for joining me for another wonderful edition of Ask an Aquarius. If you haven't already, please hit the red subscribe button and smack the bell. Also, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Pass it on to anybody and everybody else who might like it too. And please remember to drop us a positive comment in the comment section. And don't forget, stick around to the end because I have two really cool comments to read after I'm done with this video. All right, guys, so I promised you guys that I would do a reading on the unrest, the civil unrest, the violence that is going on in the United States. And I didn't have a chance to do it until today, which was actually a good thing because yesterday I got a new deck. So I used my new deck to do the reading. Now, I know some of you out there are like, you got another deck? Some of you already know because, of course, I posted it. And some of you are like, I can't believe you got another deck. Now, I want to say before I start the reading that in order to be an effective reader, you don't need a lot of decks. Honestly, I know very well-known tarot readers who have one deck. I can't even imagine that. That would bore me out of my mind. That's why I like new decks. I like the images, and the images keep my, my vision going and keep me fresh. So the last time I counted was 3 years ago, and I had about 321 decks 3 years ago. Now, in those 3 years, I've bought about 50 more decks. So I do have a lot of decks, but half of them are in storage, and the other half of them I use. I use them every day. I read, 4 times a week? I do readings for people like 4 times a week. I read myself. So they get a lot of use. So I just wanted you guys to know, for those of you who are out there who are learning how to read, you don't need a lot of decks. One tarot deck, I would say, is more than enough if you're using the tarot system. And oracle cards are really cool for beginners and people who are seasoned. So you can use a deck of them too if you want to, or you can just work with one or the other. Most people I know learn tarot first and then they get into oracle decks. Or if they're a beginner, they start with the oracle decks just to get them into picking the cards, shuffling them, using their vibration. So neither way is wrong. It just depends on what you're interested in doing. All right, so what I used for this particular reading was this deck. Now, mind you, you're looking at a mirror image, so you can see the picture, but you're not going to be able to read the words. It says Kyle Gray, Angels and Ancestors Oracle Card Guidebook. Artwork by Lily Moses. So this is by Kyle Gray, as I stated. And Kyle, I have 2 of his other decks. I like his work. And one of the reasons why I like his work is because he puts people of color in his cards. All decks don't have people of color. Some of them are completely Caucasian or European or whatever the case is. So I like decks that are a little diverse, to have a little bit of everybody. And Kyle's decks tend to have people from different parts of the world. And this one is probably the most diverse. He has people from like Native American, Europe, India. He has angels in here, and they have all kinds of different looks, and some of them are, it looks like a lot of Native American influence, but then I see some Wiccan influence. But he has just different diverse images and material in this guidebook. So if you're looking for a really easy to read, a really good deck, this is definitely one of them. So before I do a reading, one of the things that I do, and some people do this, everybody reads a little bit differently, but before I do a reading, I always sit and I ask the angels, I ask the ancestors, I ask Goddess to help me, to lead me in the reading and show me what needs to, I always go into it in my mind with what I want to know. I think a lot of readers get confused because they just pull cards. I focus my mind on what I want to know. So what I wanted to know for this reading was, what is going on and what should we do about it? That's where I focused at. And I asked the angels and the ancestors and goddess and God and everybody that's up there, you know, I don't care who, you know, anybody who's good and loving, like, please answer me. I need some help. And I'm going to tell you what they said. This is a very interesting reading. I wasn't expecting this. I mean, I was scared. I'm going to be honest with you. I was scared. I thought it was going to be awful. I thought it was going to be an awful apocalyptic type reading. But I was pleasantly surprised at what they had to say. So let me tell you, with no further ado. So I'm going to show you the cards, and even though they're backwards, I'm going to tell you what they mean. This is the first card. It is called the Knight. And at the bottom of it, it says, be brave and honest. So then I went and looked up the Knight in the guidebook, and I'm going to explain to you what this card is telling us. I mean, be brave and honest is kind of self-explanatory, but the message in the book takes it further. It says, do the right thing. Even if it isn't the easiest option. Stand for what you know to be right and true. So as soon as I read that and I thought about the racial tension, the injustice, I thought about, you know, everything. I thought about the riots and the fires. I thought about everything. And I was like, okay, so the Knight is telling us, it says here that this is for our spiritual expansion. This time period was going on as far as spiritual growth and expansion. And it makes sense to me because a lot of people are talking about being tired of having inequality. And I'm like, that comes about, the end of that comes about because of some kind of growth, some kind of spiritual growth, some kind of expansion of justice. So I was like, okay, so that's what this is grounded in. And it says that the Knight himself represents the warrior in all of us. So it's like, yeah, you are in a pickle. You are in a war, you know, you are in a war. And I had actually posted on my Facebook page, I think I posted it here on YouTube too. And it said, it is not a thing of white against black. It's people who love justice, people who love freedom against oppression, against inequality. Because if you really look at the footage from the protests, it's not just black people out there. It's other people of different colors out there for different reasons. Because some of them are out there to start crap, you know. Some of them are out there to start stuff. But it's a lot of them out there standing as allies by their brethren. Because if you think about it, most of our major cities, people have friends of different cultures in a lot of cases if they're open to it. So you have a lot of people of different colors standing out there next to their black husband, next to their black best friend. You know, you have people out there. So we are at this war, but it's a war against the oppression, not each other. So it says here that this Knight represents that warrior energy that is in all of us. And it also says that the Knight, meaning us, need to be willing to show our vulnerability and be willing to love and fight for what we love. So the very first part of this really gets to me because it's like you have to figure out what's right and true and then fight for what you love. And it's encouraging us to do that, to stand up for what's right. It says that the energy of respect is important right now. When I saw this card, this blew me away because this said volumes. So it said the energy of respect is important right now. And that's true because people in the African American community are being disrespected. It's injustice, it's disrespect, it's all that going on. But also for us to be able to solve this problem, we have to work together, all races in this country, well, in that country, because I'm not there with y'all. I'm glad I'm not there right now. But all of you have to come together, and part of coming together is mutual respect. You're not going to be able to fight off oppression and hatred and negativity and inequality without respecting each other. You have to come to the table together and talk or create or build or whatever it is you're going to do. But you have to come together with that respect. Then it says, if you are in a space where there's opposition, definitely, you are being guided to follow through with integrity. Because even if it seems this will slow your progress, your rewards will be much more abundant. So we have to deal with this situation with integrity, even though it might be easier not to. And I see that going on a lot in this situation. It says that we are surrounded by bravery. Knights are known for their bravery. And this card also brings justice. So if we do these things, if we fight for what we believe in, if we come at each other with respect, if we work together, if we tap into the energy of bravery, the Knight is saying that this will bring us the justice that we seek. This is how to get it. And then it says the universal energies are working to bring everything back into order, and that you don't need to force anything through your will. Allow your spiritual path, your spirituality, to protect you. So we need to realize that we don't have to force anything to happen. All we have to do is come with our integrity, come with our respect. We don't have to, fight and strong arm each other. We can use diplomacy. Imagine that. Imagine that, So this card was like it stood out to me. The other two stand out to me as well. But this one was like, bam, right in my face. Like, wow, that answered every question I had. What to do? What could be the possible outcome if we do it? And I'm like, wow. So if we do this right, we'll finally have more justice. We'll have more equality. And we can keep building from there. But all that happens in the future with us doing the right thing in the present. All right, that's the Knight. We got two more cards here. Oh, I love this one. Look at this. The Air Guardian. This was our second card. The Air Guardian, it says shift your perception. Another very interesting one. So let me tell you what they talk about with the Air Guardian. And that's the cool thing about these decks, I might have told you guys before, is that you have the ability to just look in the guidebook and see what it's talking about. You don't even have to really know how to read cards. The hardest part is getting the right cards, is focusing and concentrating and getting the right card to come. But you don't have to know what they mean on sight. Now, me, with almost all my cards, except for the new ones, I know what it means on sight because I've read it time and time again, And a lot of the cards have keywords and symbols on them, but you don't have to. You can not know them, just pull it up in the book and read it. Now, the Air Guardian said to shift perception. Air, people that know tarot know that the swords represent air. And air is also connected to thoughts, okay? So that's how they're connecting this with perception. So what the Air Guardian says is that change the way you think, and you will change your whole reality. Some of us are not thinking right. Some of us who are racist, white supremacists, and it's not just them. I mean, it's people of color taking advantage of the situation. It's people who don't have nothing to do with it, coming out and looting just to get free stuff. People who don't even care about it. They have something to do with it because we all have something to do with it. But they don't care, and they just coming to get some free yoga pants. I saw this girl walking out the store, and she had the nerve to get a bag from the store. She stole something, put it in a bag. I was like, she walked out like she had been shopping, and I was looking at her like, are you serious? So some people are very much taking advantage. So a lot of people, those people especially, need to change the way that they think. And like I said, the white supremacists who are keeping it going. Some people of color who are online spreading, like, for instance, I'll give you an example. There's some people online of color who are spreading conspiracy theories. Now, I got conspiracy theories of my own. Don't play with me. But I don't feel like it's the time for them in the middle of a crisis, especially if they can't offer us any solutions. You see? If a conspiracy theory can offer us some solutions, then I'm with it. But in most cases, it doesn't, and it has nothing to do with what's going on. So again, those people need to really look at their perception and change their reality. Then it says, you are being guided to recognize that not all you see is exactly the way you see it. I've heard some people say some awful things of all colors. I've heard there was a famous rapper. I'm not going to say her name, but a lot of you probably heard this. It happened today. And this famous rapper was like, oh, you know, people who are protesting are animals. And I mean, she was just dogging, not saying like, oh, some of them are animals, because some people are out there protesting very peacefully. And even some people who are not, might not be animals. They might just be angry, fed up, you know, or maybe they got pushed by somebody before the camera got to them. So to call people animals because they're angry and frustrated and fighting for freedom is not cool. Now, there are some animals of every color that I just mentioned previously, but she called them animals, and I was just like, nah, And she's another one. I hope somebody talks to her and she changes her perspective and see that there's more going on than meets the eye. Then it says, sometimes the mind can play games and sometimes our perceptions can be wrong. So some of us who are angry with each other, maybe our perceptions are wrong. For example, one of my white friends inboxed me and she asked me to she wanted me to kind of explain what she had did wrong. She said something to a white woman and the white woman snapped on her. And she wanted me to explain what it was that she did wrong. And I was able to explain to her why the woman snapped on her. The woman didn't have to snap on her. She could have said it in a much nicer way. But the bottom line was that the person that was asking the question didn't know. She just didn't know. So educate her and move on. Why are you snapping on her? You know? Then the next one says, you are being guided to open your eyes and your mind. So a lot of people in this particular situation, people who fall under this part of the card, they have to open their eyes. They have to see that there's more going on here. For example, white supremacists, and I don't know if they're ever going to come to this point. Sometimes they do. I've seen white supremacists on television do, or ex-white supremacists on television do all kinds of interviews about how they stopped being that way, and other people who have been prejudiced against different groups or bigoted will come and talk about how they changed their perception and it changed their reality. Sometimes it was because their reality changed. Like, for instance, they hated people who were homosexual and then their child comes out the closet and now they're stuck with the one person they love more than life is something that they've always hated. You get a lot of stories like that. So I'm hoping that with some people who are racist, with some people who believe in inequality, because there are those people involved in this situation. Some people in the government, for example, are right there. So the hope is that some people will change their perception, and they'll be like, you know what, this is wrong, and let's work together to change that. So I really, really enjoyed that aspect of that second card. And it's people, like I said, on different sides. I heard this black guy talking about, going out and, beating white people up in his neighborhood, and everybody in the thread was like, nah, like that's not the way to go. We need to be trying to do something that's going to change things, not make things worse. And I don't know if we changed his perception or his perspective or not, But he definitely was talking more sense by the end of the thread than he was at the beginning. Because I was like, you're not realizing that you're blaming, you're doing the same thing that the white supremacists are doing. You're looking at an entire group of people and lumping them together and calling them criminal. The same thing they do to us. So you're no better. You're no better if you're not willing to at least peep your own prejudice. So I don't know. Hopefully the air guardian will be with him. Number 3. So the third card, I like this one a lot too. I liked all of these. I love these cards. This one is the Sage. And it says at the bottom of the Sage, be devoted and committed. So this one talks about being devoted and committed to the change that we want to see in the world. So those of us who have our heads on straight and we know that this whole situation is about bringing about a change, bringing about justice, we got to stay committed and focused and not get angry or upset or egos get in the way, because that's when something like this will be derailed. This one says that it represents the wise one within. So it encourages us to tap into our inner wisdom. It also, which we can do through meditation, or we can do through, talking, praying to God, Goddess. It also tells us to go to wise teachers. Go to the people, the elders we respect, who've been through things or seen things, who can tell us what works and what doesn't work. Go to those wise elders, go to those wise teachers, and be a teacher for those who come behind you. The younger generations, our children, the young people, our sisters, our little brothers, things like that. This card says that devotion to this is a powerful energy, and it is. Devoting to this and not just letting it be a hot topic today that we're all on today, but tomorrow we're not devoted to it anymore and we've let it go. Because that's usually what happens when any kind of injustice happens. Everybody's riled up for like a week. And then a month later, they go back to business as usual. So this card is saying, don't do that. Be devoted to the change you want to see. Be committed to it. It says right now, angels and ancestors want to acknowledge how committed you are to your growth. So we need to grow as people and grow together simultaneously. The energy of oneness is offered to us now. It's important to integrate, and we can all be supported and guided. And I love that part, because it's like what I was talking about, coming together as a country, as a nation. Because I'm not there, but we're all American citizens. And the best way to make change is to come together. We'll be supported, we'll be guided, and we'll be able to get that justice that they talked about in the first card. But if we don't, we'll probably just have anarchy until it dies down. So this is the reading that I did on this situation, and this is how we can work it out in a productive and a positive way. So if you have some ideas to add to this that are productive and positive, please drop them in the comment section and come back soon, because I have a lot more to say. Likewise, all my information is underneath this video, and if you would like to get a reading done, email me. My email is underneath this video. Now, I'm going to read you 2 of my favorite comments before I go, okay? The first one came from Doris Hamilton. Doris is my girl. What's up? What's up? Every day, Doris and I talk about videos. She looks at old videos or new videos, and I love talking to her in the comment section. Shout out to the comment section. Doris Hamilton said, I have sleep issues because I overthink when I'm not distracted. I remember everything in detail, so I replay. Yeah, you replay it over and over and over and over. I do the same thing. It's like a loop, like a song on repeat. And I just keep on playing it over and seeing what I did and didn't do, should and shouldn't have done, over and over again. I know that's very Aquarius. Then Emil Jones, hello, said all of these signs are signs of my friend's boyfriend, and I try to tell her none of it is healthy, but she falls for his lies every time. Shaking my head. Now, I did a video the other day about unhealthy relationships, and right now I'm working on one called healthy relationships. And in the unhealthy relationships video, I gave all these warning signs. So if you want to go check, if you want to know, go check it out. It's pretty informative. And basically, she's saying that this girl's boyfriend, this woman's boyfriend, exhibits all these bad behaviors. So she is in an abusive relationship. If he exhibits all of them, even just a few of them is bad. But if he's exhibiting all of them, she's being abused, and it's time to move on. Okay? All right, guys. See you later.